All right. Welcome, everybody. Hi, Liz. You getting text messages?
You know, it's an event. It's busy.
Hi, Melissa.
Hello.
Hey, Stewart.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Awesome.
Good. Glad you sat down with me to go over a little bit about what's going on down here. Tell us a little bit about why we're here. Melissa, tell us what's happening, what you and Elizabeth have set up.
Yeah. So we came up, actually, I think it was Elizabeth. Elizabeth came up with the name AdvocaSea because she loves to come up with cool things and do it by the sea. And I'm like, okay, all right, we're not, you didn't say it just like that. But we have taken a small group out here, and I'll say they're from patient advocacy organizations, from nonprofits, and coming down here and really just testing out an international event too. So there's a lot of logistics that goes on behind the scenes, but this has been in the making. I can't believe we're here. I say that with every event. Oh, we're here, right? We just finished another large event that we host, the Healthcare Advocate Summit, and launching Specialty Summit USA. So I feel like things are just going and going. So yeah, we are here, and I'll let Elizabeth give a little bit of background.
Liz, tell us about this play on words. AdvocaSea,
right.
You know, you guys are deep into advocacy for patients, and then you thought, well, let's make an event out of it and use a kind of a play on words.
So I'm going to give the unfiltered version. We're really tired of going to meeting after meeting, event after event. And it's like, hey, let's talk about all these buzzwords and let's just talk about advocacy, right? Like, yes, we're all advocating for something, for anything, for patients. Like ground rule applies. We're all here for patients. Yes. But if we keep spending our time saying that instead of doing something for that, like it's never going to happen. Like I'm just sick of talking about it. So what's one way to get people who are also motivated and sick of talking about it together to get something done? So yes, it's AdvocaSea, SEA, because we also have lives and jobs and we're busy. And so it's nice to have something great to look at. So we're at an awesome location. I'm not going to say it's bribery because that's wrong. Mm-hmm. However, we did get people to come here because it's a nice place where you can see the sea. And to cram in a room for a couple days and to not just talk about what's wrong, what barriers we face, how to overcome them. But there's everyone with a little bit of a different background. And so we're actually doing things like drafting policy changes, drafting letters, really getting our hands into like, how can we do this? And then taking these actionable items back and completing them. They'll be 90% done here. All we got to do is send them when we get back. So this is more of I'd love to call this a retreat, but this is more of a boot camp.
Yeah.
I think is the best way to put it. There's just some pleasant scenery and the affordability component, right? Again, put our money where our mouth is. We talk about how expensive healthcare is. The ability to come to another country, to Mexico, to this beautiful 5-diamond resort. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can do that for cheaper than it is to host like one lunch for this many people at a property in the U.S. So again, we're being money conscious. I know it's time. It's the beginning of the year. It's busy. But why not? Like we all are going to be doing these same things anyways. So instead of doing them independently across the U.S., like let's sit in a room with a cool view and do it.
Yeah. And people are still working. You know, it's blizzard season. We had laptops up. People are checking on auths and things. So for them to be able to spend some time with us and take away from their patients and their families, we've got to do something actionable, something that's not just coming together.
And I love seeing all the compliance with the screen protectors and the VPNs and all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah,
good
absolutely.
Good job, people.
Well,
yes.
Stewart, tell me a little about what your experience has been, because I know you came to the Healthcare Advocate Summit, I think the second year, and you've kind of seen the Healthcare Advocate Summit blossom and grow into like these other events. Tell us a little bit about your thought process on what Melissa and Liz have been up to in the advocacy space.
Well, I think that the vision that you guys have, and then the action-oriented approach that you both bring, you know, with a sense of urgency and enthusiasm and a zest for impacting and improving patient lives and outcomes and making it easier for patients to receive care and for providers to access the care, you know, and reduce the burden, you know, associated with it. it takes a lot of people with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of energy and passion, and that's what, Healthcare Advocate Summit, and then now Specialty, Summit, as well as AdvocaSea, is embodying, that enthusiasm for change, right? Not just talk about it, but take position statements, issue, policy, statements or guidance, where you're bringing in multiple stakeholders and collaborators, around here's what core issues are and here's what change actually looks like. And then how can we, implement it, through this cross-functional group, of attendees.
That sounds great.
It's very encouraging.
Liz, help the audience understand some of the key differentiators. I know we know a lot about the Healthcare Advocate Summit. We know the advocates, the frontline workers who work closely with the patients. That's their target kind of audience for coming to the AdvocaSea to learn and network. Healthcare Advocate Summit. AdvocaSea, you guys have brought some other players, a mix of people, payers and not private. Tell me about who's coming and what's kind of the key differentiators.
So if we're going to truly advocate, right, we can't, the people that work with the patients, they're the strongest voice, obviously. However, again, it's a busy time of year, but also in their day-to-day role, they don't have the bandwidth or the capability to draft these kind of letters, to make these phone calls, to go up, on Capitol Hill. Like, this is a different part of the healthcare journey. So we have somebody represented from infusion centers, from hospitals, from payers, from independent advocates. We've got caregivers. We've got specialty pharmacy, manufacturers. We've got a little bit of everybody who can say, okay, in my role, here's what I do. So if you want to champion this cause, here's how I can help. And I'll give credit to our friend Laura Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
We did a networking event recently where you rotated tables to meet new companies, but you did it with your laptop open and you sent emails connecting people right then and there. And so it was like genius. Like, why not do it in real time? So what AdvocaSea is essentially is, okay, you work in the infusion space, I work in private practice. Aetna, for example, is a problem for both of us. So let's co-draft a statement to Aetna right now, right? You can call upon your experience. I'll call upon mine. The manufacturer, hey, what advice do you have? Let's get this going. So it's not just, hey, I'm Elizabeth, I'm upset about something.
Yeah.
It's, I'm Elizabeth, I'm Melissa, I'm Stewart, I'm this, and we are upset about something.
Well, it puts the issue right front and center
Correct.
with multiple solution opportunities or contributors, around a table and say, okay, here's the solution. How do you approach it? How do you approach it? And then it puts the priorities that they bring, but then also the solutions that they potentially offer towards that solution.
Correct. Right. And it's the people that if I was going to do an ad board with them, or I was going to, or even in my own inbox, the people that got invited to this are the ones that, how can I help you? Or speak up in events or ask questions. Yeah. So I think it's not going to be a challenge, but I think it's going to be an organizational point of, when do we cut people off from talking? When do we cut people off from suggestions? Because there's going to be really great ones, which is what I'm looking forward to.
And Melissa, I know that you guys have a complete schedule and everything, and it is kind of like a retreat, but it's also like a workshop, a work group, right? So people are actually, it's a boot camp. Yeah, I like that.
I like to call it Mastermind because I just feel better. Like I'm like, work. But it's not. It's all work that we love to do.
And I know a lot of people wanted to come to this. It was a small event. You guys had to limit the scope and scale of it. But the people here, I think, represent a diverse audience and voice.
Thousands of patient lives behind some of these organizations, or where they represent in their role. But on top of policy and draft letters, we're starting off the day and kicking off of we all talk about the patient journey. We all talk about this maze, and it really is. And really identifying those bottlenecks, right? I know what my bottlenecks are. You know what yours is. But really, let's pull out the giant Post-it notes that look like we're all two because they're this big.
Great.
And, write on them and really let's lay this out. And then let's start talking about how can we make change. And then on top of that, the organizations that are here, a lot of them are nonprofits. A lot of them seek funding and grants and foundation support and these things. And what I identify and what I see is there's a challenge, and everybody is literally fighting for the same funds. And sometimes they don't know how. Me and Elizabeth have done pretty good just being, I've worked in pharma before. I've seen the opposite end. you've done meetings, you're on your physician side doing ad boards and things. And like, what's our give back to these people? And so we're going to be helping them as well on, you need to understand what is the difference between market access and patient services and market access marketing and how do you position yourself? So we're going to do some cool things that I don't think they even really know about yet unless they watch this before we go in. But, you know, like how can we help each other? Because we're all at the end of the day focus on the patient. And even if we all did what we were able to, there's still going to be patients that are missing and lost.
If I had to give, and this is a very educated estimate, just by knowing the organizations represented here and knowing some of them on a very personal level. So between the organization AdvocaCX that I work with or work for, as well as one other attendee, that's over 5 million patient lives that we represent. So when
just two of you guys,
just two of us. So when you add on the rest of the organizations that are here, I mean, a conservatively educated estimate would be at least 7 million patient lives.
Yeah.
Can be, and I will say will be, impacted by our ability to collaborate and move forward together. And I wish, I mean, we could go and get an actual number based on every organization
maybe
that's
we
here.
should ask and we'll
Add it up.
report back.
Yeah.
And I think I'm being pretty conservative by the size of some of the organizations that these individuals here represent, because it's those that we invited that are going to speak up, but we also, because of the style of resort, they brought a +1, and some of their +1s work in healthcare too. So it's not just, you know,
We kind of grew our event. It's like I kept having to break out. I'm like, oh, you work and come join the conversation. We didn't know who
Right.
they were going to bring, right?
So, and some people, instead of bringing like a, you know, relationship +1, brought their friend or their coworker. And so it's like, hold on a second. So by guessing how many lives these patients or these people touch patient wise, like it could be a lot more,
Yeah.
which is exciting.
Well,
Well,
to me, I think it's the most interesting component would be, you know, to look at that total number of lives that are represented, right? But then also, to me, one of the biggest opportunities for discussion and identification is around resources that aren't used, underutilized resources, you know, from
Yes.
all the different participants or, you know, or collaborators, you know, be it a manufacturer or distributor, you know, or advocate groups. Like there's just so much opportunity to help that doesn't get tapped into just because of lack of awareness, right?
And so much funding that's put behind those resources that they're helpful. They're just not getting out there in the way that they need to.
Or they're shelved because they're in a practice and nobody really understands what they are.
it's too complicated.
Yeah.
Like again,
or you
it's-
don't put your title of the logo or the product on the spine, and I can never read it on my bookshelf.
Yeah. Well, I think Liz said the key word that I've heard you guys talk about a lot is that collaboration. And I think that you guys represent a kind of a different approach where we really want to work with a lot of people, and you guys are bringing people together. And not that people kind of have infighting, but, you know, you're bringing together people who normally don't maybe talk or don't normally work together because they've been siloed or just history. And you guys are breaking down all those barriers.
Well, okay. In truth, like I'm tired. We're tired, right? You can only do so much as one person or as one entity. And honestly, every group that's represented here are rock stars in their own way. They've been doing their own things, right? And we get this really great gumption. It's like, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And it's like, let's just stop saying I'm doing it and like, let's put we're doing it. It's a good lesson you taught me. So it's one of those things like, it doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter what your experience level is. It doesn't matter what organization you're from. You're working on something. Let's champion it and work it together. And, you know, we had a great conversation today, Mel, where we were talking about, you know, like I've really enjoyed starting campaigns or starting advocacy, anything, championing for a cause, right? And you get all this excitement. You get all these people that want to start in the beginning with you. And then you get 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years in. And it's like that, it's not sexy anymore. It's not exciting anymore,
Yeah.
but there's still a real reason for it. And so everyone here has a reason or a cause that they are working on. And a lot of them are the same. So why not just bring everybody together and get it done?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys have a crazy endurance that's lasted for way longer than 5 years. But here we are. You guys have actually been stepping up and getting out there, starting with the Healthcare Advocate Summit. and now with AdvocaSea. And you guys are launching 11 therapeutic areas, another conference that's going to bring together people. We'll talk about that at a different podcast. But I just think that you guys get a lot of energy, and I hope that like the retreats like this and workshops and masterminds and boot camps like this will reinvigorate, excuse me, reinvigorate those workers and those policy people, healthcare nonprofits that are representing all those voices you were talking about.
Well, I think that, you do feel alone, right? You feel like it gets lonely when you're working on these things, and it gets exhausting, and you feel like you're not going anywhere. So, yes, it is a beautiful view here, and I hope everyone's loving it. But at the same time, I think what I hope people walk away from is like, hey, like we actually there's more people like me out there.
Yeah.
And I think the accountability factor, we're all busy, right? We're all swamped in our day-to-day lives. But if you've got 20 people working on the same thing versus 2 people working on the same thing, somebody's going to have a better endurance than the other. Someone's going to remind somebody. Like we have a longevity to whatever cause we dedicate our time to.
Yeah. And I'll say from I'm all about relationships here.
Good for you.
And networking and becoming friends, because I feel when these causes do get lonely, sometimes you don't know who your, pulse check is, or who your soundboard is in this, or sometimes you keep talking, you're like, okay, do they really care? Do they not? And you start trying to filter yourself on how much passion you show. And for the people that are here, I think they all have a sense of urgency, all those keywords that you said before. And just even seeing people and meeting them, like as they were coming out of the vans together, they just had an hour ride together. And some of them that were together and talking, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that she did this. And I've never met her, and I've seen her online, or you're totally different in person, because people are buttoned up. They did say we are still the same as we are online. So compliments.
Yeah, I don't think
So-
that's going to change anytime soon.
But I hope some new friendships are fostered from this. And I hope from this, just like with the Healthcare Advocate Summit, we get to hear like, because of this, what did this catapult into something else? Like the networking, the connecting.
Without question, having this as a foundation, and then looking at, Matt mentioned, the specialty summit and the branching out, into 11 different therapeutic areas, because healthcare and access to it is a universal issue, and it isn't, myopically focused on one particular area or disease state, right? So the ability to tie in resources and advocacy, across specialties, areas of care, sites of care, things of that nature, it only just lifts the potential opportunity for support and resource allocation, to people across a broad spectrum of the population.
Yeah, the same resources, and you just kind of tailor it a a bit differently, right?
And no offense to you two, because you both have worked in oncology, but it's not all about oncology. There are so many other specialties that need assistance and have their own problems, but also that have the exact same ones that oncology does. They just get more money. And so
Yeah.
I'm here to level the playing field
Yeah,
in
so
therapeutic areas.
Yeah.
I mean, there's money, there's attention, and there's education. And you guys seem to, like I said, break down those barriers across therapeutic areas, leverage where you can learn from the other disciplines and the other opportunities.
Access
And-
is access.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Need is need.
Yeah.
Yeah, better outcomes are better outcomes.
Well, even in pre-con this morning. So we're meeting with the hotel staff here to make sure we have everything we need. And we're talking like, this is what we do. We have to explain, like, in the U.S., this is how we help the healthcare system. And what do they say? We need that help too.
They're
Yeah.
like, can you come and help us next?
Yeah.
Like they literally, the people, can you help us in Mexico?
So it's like every person on this planet at some point is going to need healthcare of some kind, just depending on where you are, what the system is, right? So I wish we could so Melissa and I went to Thailand last year, and we took a pit stop on a tour to a hospital there. I wish we could have done that here and taken everybody to a hospital. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. Well, I'm
Thanks,
super
next year.
excited for this AdvocaSea event. I'm super excited to see the workshopping and everybody. So we'll be podcasting, we'll be recording, we'll maybe go live, we'll post these, we'll cut them up. And so looking forward to it. Thank you guys for setting this up. I know the attendees are super excited to be here.
Yeah.
We'll maybe get them on the pod here, and all the folks who couldn't attend, who wanted to attend but couldn't for different reasons. Maybe next time they'll attend. Maybe this will grow into a bigger event, but right now it's small. It's very, what's the right word? Like intricate. It's very
Intimate.
intimate. Yes,
Intimate and intentional.
and
I
intentional.
think, for
Yes,
this first
yes,
year.
very good, very good. So, no, I just wanted to get on here and start introduce the AdvocaSea to the world and get your feedback on it. And thank you for setting it up. Any last words, Stewarts?
No, thank you. Super excited to get into it. Look, you got a great group of folks that you guys have put together. This is going to be a very collaborative, again, cross-functional, ongoing, roll your sleeves up kind of dialogue.
Yeah. Liz, last words?
No, we're in a really great place. And so I'm hoping with our podcast setup that this can lead to my eventual hosting of Drunk Healthcare, where I can, go through and talk about how the dollar flows through healthcare while maybe having some tequila by the pool.
That would be interesting.
I think it'd be a great podcast for this event. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Well, you have to drink if you say the word, I don't know, medication access or something like that, like a bingo card.
Have you ever watched Drunk History, where they go through, they have a couple drinks and they talk about like a specific event in history? I want to do that, but talk about specific parts of healthcare. I think Mexico's the place to do that.
Can you imagine if it's like the word is copay and you have to do a shot?
Yeah.
Copay shot.
It doesn't surprise me, Liz, that you watch podcasts about history.
Yeah, no one's surprised.
She's going to be your phone a friend on any random fact.
Oh,
I'm just going to let
Who
you
Wants
know.
to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah.
Call Liz.
Yeah.
But you know what? These are the things that we're going to learn about other people while we're here.
Yeah.
See?
So no, that's
all right.
great.
Close this out, Melissa. Tell us what we need to know about the event. Thanks everybody who helped put this together.
Yeah, I would just say follow AdvocaSea Prescribe Plus. So Prescribe Plus is our company that kind of hosts all of these events. We do consulting, advisory boards, a lot of other things, initiatives, really anything for patient access. And I'll say that there's going to be a lot of involvement from everybody. So look out online too. We have such dedicated guests that are coming. They're going to be posting every day. And what are their takeaways, right? It's the feedback that sometimes you get just one post at the end or they don't have time to do it. It is homework. It is, let's go. What did you learn? Because other people need to hear. And hopefully we can spread the word so we can have a larger event next year.
Speaking of our event, we got to get there.
Yes.
Yep, we have an event. All right. Y'all have a good night.
Reception time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
I was going to clap for myself. So
Goodbye. Good job. Thank you, guys. I'll shut it down.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.